Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net, and I want to talk to you guys about some of the weird stuff you're going to see in this business. If you've been around for any length of time, you've seen some of it. You know that we tell you you've got to research debt prior to the sale. You've got to research to make sure there wasn't a transfer of ownership before the sale. We also tell you how to handle rough negotiations and that type of thing. But you're going to run into stuff that you were not prepared for. And I used to make fun of attorneys. They used to drive me crazy, all right? All kinds of attorneys, by the way. I went through a divorce. Even that, and she was an excellent, probably the best attorney I've ever seen. And even she drove me a little nuts. And the thing that drove me crazy about the attorneys, and I'm getting to a point, I promise you. But the thing that drove me crazy about the attorneys is they would say, yeah, okay, I'll get right on it. And their idea of getting right on something, they'd write it all down, find out what the issue was. But their idea of getting right on something was to let it go for about a week, then look at it, let it go for another week, maybe reach out, touch base with whoever I'm dealing with that's an issue, and then get back to me. And it used to drive me crazy. And I've begun to see the logic in that. I've also begun to see why that's so powerful. Look, guys, 80% of the time, stuff is going to work itself out. 80%. Easy. If you're just honest and open, lay everything out. Don't lie about what you're going to do or not going to do. Just lay it out there. 80% of the time, it's going to work out. Let me give you some examples of things that have happened. We've gone in and double-checked that the funds were still there in one state. Found this in multiple counties in that state, by the way. And what happened? Oh, every single time, sorry, I'll get back to you in a couple days, and then sorry, there's no money here. Finally, our attorney said, this doesn't make any sense. I can see where it was initially deposited. I don't get it. In that particular state, we found out that the county, whenever anybody would make an inquiry as to how much was there and whether or not it was still being held, were there any counterclaims, that type of thing, would immediately send the money to the state and then call us back and say, hey, no money here. Happened consistently. We finally got the attorneys to set up to where when they called to double check, they would mention, hey, by the way, in the past, we've had counties say, we'll get back to you. I'm making a claim. They would start the claim process. And the first part of that was they would demand the amount that was held at the time the county got the claim. And that shut it down. Shut it down because they could not lie about what they had at the time the claim got to them because they didn't know the claim was coming in. So they were still holding on to the money. I kid you not. This is the kind of stuff you run into. We had another one. IRS tax lien expired years ago, 3-4 years ago. And the county says you have to have a response from the IRS to confirm that this tax lien has expired. No, you don't. It is either expired and been re-upped, or it hasn't expired. If it's expired, we shouldn't have to have a conversation with them. Still, fine. We notified the IRS. They never got back to us. Notified them multiple times, never got back to us. Demanded the clerk release the funds. Clerk said no, the IRS doesn't stand for Internal Revenue Service. The IRS stands for I run scared. We're not releasing it. Never got around that one. Had to come back years and years later when they had a change of who was in charge. We were dealing with a different clerk to make it happen. No kidding. Had to wait till a clerk got out of office to get the money. And guys, just so everybody knows, clerks don't have to be attorneys or have any legal knowledge. Assistant clerks typically do in most of the states, but clerks don't. They're elected. We dealt with one that was a state trooper. Show up to make the claim. It was actually a motion. Showed up to make the claim. I'm sitting in the back watching all this go down. Two daughters show up, say, hey, we should have gotten it. He was abusive. And I know that it should go to our mom, but we should get a portion of this. It was a joint tenants with rights to survivorship deed. Clerk says, oh man, I think you're right. You deserve some of this money. We're going to split it this way. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We immediately filed to stop that, to stop the disbursement, and to see it in a higher court. And won. But this guy didn't know anything about the law, and he was going off the seat of his pants, and that's not okay. But you know what? Very high percentage of the time, if you're dealing with clerks or masters in equity or whatever it happens to be, they don't have a law degree. Thank God we had an attorney. If we hadn't had an attorney, we would have gotten anywhere on that. Okay? At least you have to be able to make the argument, and having an attorney allows you to make the argument. Guys, I could go on for days. We've had people send us where we had everything signed. We've had every document signed and realized that the person that signed the documents had the exact same name we were looking for. They were a junior and they were 16 years old. They would have had to have been like 12 when they purchased the house. Trying to do an end run around dad because they didn't like him. Guys, let it be. Let your legal counsel do what they need to do. Okay? Take a little time. Let people know what you're going to do. With that young man that sent that ID in, I said, here's how this is going to work. Either you're going to give us your dad's number, okay, in which case we're going to try to make a deal with him and see if we can work it out. And we're not going to mention the fact that you tried to do this. Or you're not going to give us your dad's number, and we're going to find him, and we're going to have a conversation about what you attempted to do here today. Well, I don't have my dad's number. Okay. Told you what I was going to do. Here's my direct number. Have a nice day. 15 minutes goes by. Get the call. We're able to call the man.